Thinking Ford?
What about that talk about Ford and GM merging? How's that going to affect NASCAR? I got to ask Joey Bonkowski that on Friday. I mean, I've said this a million times. Do not tell me about Auburn or Alabama. Do not tell me about, I don't know, what's a great sports rivalry out there? The Red Sox and the Yankees, don't tell me about the Army-Navy. Now, you want to know what? Ford versus Chevy. That's the rivalry, not only in sports circles with auto racing, but certainly traditional. I mean, that was just rite of passage when you were a little boy, especially down south where car culture is so big. But when you were a boy and you wanted to have your own car and you were 8 years old and all that, you were collecting the toy cars and all that, did you like Fords? Did you like Chevys? Or you're this weird guy who liked Dodges? Now, I am told that in a younger generation, now they enter in Toyota, and it's not just the domestic automakers and all this and that debate, but it's still primarily Ford versus Chevy, and heck, I used to work at an auto parts store, used to have that as well. I mean, that was felt. And that's the great American rivalry. If they merge, I mean, that is the Hatfields and the McCoys getting married. Now they're talking about that. You'd like to see, maybe, or maybe not. There's some discussion both ways. Management and players, labor, coming together more in pro sports. Nobody wants a strike, and a strike really hurt. They're making that much money and they're striking. Keep hearing that a lot. Well, we need to have this right. We need to make this percentage. It's not right. The minimum salary is $555,000 a year. You just were promoted from minor league baseball where the players often make hundreds of dollars in a month. You wish to strike. Are you striking for the minor leaguer? No, I'm striking so I can get every last cent when I'm 37. That's become basically the view of the players' strike, let's face it. Still, though, I don't see how with baseball, I mean, you've got declining attendance, you've got Rob Manfred trying to change everything, and people don't want him to change everything. You've got them embracing political correctness. You've got the game going to something that is just not what we know. You've got, well, what are we going to do to speed up ball games? Hey, let's take care of that DH. That really clogs them up. No. We'll get rid of the intentional walk. I'm going to steal the Bruce Kiden line. He was an old sports columnist. Late sports columnist. The man was drowning. He needed a life preserver. You threw him a donut. That's what Rob Manfred does. But he's progressive. To that person that says change is good. It doesn't matter what change it is. Miley Cyrus has cut off all her hair. That's a good change. Yeah, New Coke, gotta embrace that. That guy. That's the only guy that likes Manfred left. I don't see how they're going to prevent a player strike, and if they do, then I think you'll have universal DH, and which will just, you'll be ending. I mean, I'm not saying people will stop playing baseball. No, we still have boxing, but it'll just become less and less popular, and it's like what I saw, driving past on Greenwood Drive, Johnson City. I guess they don't call it Boundary Road anymore, but it's on Go Bucks Go Drive now. It used to be Jack Vest Drive. And I'm driving by there, and I see the site of Old Mooney Field, and it's an obstacle course. And then I go, and I remember, hey, you know what? I know of at least 2 fields that I played baseball on in my youth that are now soccer fields. Including one that had a very legitimate history of baseball to it. I mean, you don't think of Pony League fields having great history, but I could show you one guy who played in the World Series who played on that field. It's a soccer field now. You'll just get more and more of that. Like I said, we still have boxing. But we will be going to that. I say this all the time. I get really sour and all that. I know you don't want. But I go with that. I don't, if baseball is to end a strike, it will be, just falling down to the players' union like they always do. Well, now, pro football and their players' union is saying, you know what, guys? Save your money. Prepare for a year-long work stoppage. This might be a little extreme. And it also could be the union saying, hey, save your money, boys, because we might strike. You want to have the insurance policy. That doesn't miss it. So, you got to remember that. But Doris Smith, he's the NFLPA, NFL Players Association Executive Director. He sent a letter to every single NFL agent stating the union is advising players to save their money for a work stoppage because current bargaining agreement ends after 2020. Liz Mullen, who writes for the Sports Business Journal, has reported this. NFLPA has been hammered for the way it seemingly caved the NFL last collective bargaining negotiations. They always say that, and this is why, I say, do you want the players' union management at each other's throat? Evidently, there are people in pro football, writers who think it'd be a good idea. Now, the idea is, has Roger Goodell become king? Amount of guarantees the players deserve in their contracts. Because historically, the owner said, it's a contact sport, you don't get any, nature of the sport. And then agents negotiated for more and more and such. Here's one, medical marijuana. That's still banned by the NFL. Of course, if you didn't have recreational marijuana, you'd have no problem with medical marijuana. That's what nobody ever wants to talk about. But anyway. And so these are the things. I'll tell you what, even if it's for medicinal purposes, I cannot imagine the public at large. I can maybe imagine some potheads, but I don't know how much football they watch anyway. But I cannot imagine the public at large saying, yes, I support the players of the strike because the owners are not allowing them to smoke grass. I know all about the Nick Nolte scene that ended, North Dallas 40, and he has a point, What do you mean you're kicking me out of the league for grass? You kick me, the players out for grass, you're going to be down half the league. It's probably true, but yeah. I even know of one player who told me once, I asked him, why'd you get into cocaine? Because a teammate said they're testing for marijuana. I get it. But that doesn't mean go to cocaine. It does advertise it as a gateway drug, nevertheless. Oh, no, it's not a gateway drug. Well, I know of one person who it was. I know of many people who it was. Well, statistics show, my own life says that I know of people that it was a gateway drug. Don't want to hear about it. So, by the way, there's a football story that came just off the, out recently. Gerald McCoy, cut by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look for him to sign with either the Ravens or the Browns. Now that's interesting because the Browns have become the chic team in the NFL. A year away from 1-31. Now they're 14-1 to win a Super Bowl. Here's the deal. You look at the Cleve Brownies. That's what Myron Cope used to call them. And I look at it this way. If I'm McCoy, if I'm looking to win, I go to him. I don't like Lamar Jackson. I get the idea that the Ravens are sort of this, perpetual 9-7. And I know they've done better than that. They did better than that last year and all that. But it's that mindset, if you will. Perpetual 9-7. I know they won the Super Bowl twice. But you don't really think of the Ravens the way you think of the Steelers, the Patriots. No. And there you go. I'd rather play on a team with Baker Mayfield than Lamar Jackson myself. Now here's the question. And it's disturbing for Vols fans. You know, I mentioned Darren Kirkland wasn't going to play anymore. And that's going to hurt the linebackers to whatever degree. What if the Vols stay mediocre? And what would you say is mediocre? Would you say 6-6, an improvement? But yeah, it's 500. Mediocre. You know, even if they win a bowl game, who cares bowl in front of 5,000 folks? You know, whatever. Point is, what if the Vols stay mediocre, or even if they go 8-4, and the Browns do things they've never done before this year, and they do go to the Super Bowl? How does Jimmy Haslam look then? Pretty good. I'm Marky Billson. I come up with a unique take.
Neighborhood Ford. It's